I am always in the market for a new training aid, and in fact, I'm going to start doing these videos as frequently as possible. Let's just call them Training Aid Tuesdays. Meow. I love that name. Training Aid Tuesdays. So I was scrolling around on Amazon as always, looking for different types of training aids to test and some different things that I can show you all down that lens, and I happened to run into this thing. This is the Skilz Putting Gate Trainer. Let's do a review on this putting aid right meow. Thank you very much for tuning in to my YouTube channel. My name is Kenny. Some of you may know me as Kennie Kat. I am a competitive golfer, and this channel is dedicated to my journey, what it takes to become a better competitive golfer. Let's jump straight into it. If you haven't seen my reviews, I like to follow a simple format of 5 basic principles. Ease of use, feedback loop, the price, design and build quality, and can you make this product with existing tools that you already have? Let's talk a little bit about what is this thing. So a putting gate is designed for you to set this down on a putting green, and it gives you a little area right here that you can go through that basically allows you to have a start line and to ultimately see if your ball is rolling on the correct line. So you set this up, point it at a hole, you put a few T-pegs in between these two things right here, and that basically gives you a gate for your putter to have to pass through, and this gives you a gate for the ball to go through. Assuming you start the ball on the correct line, it should roll from this end straight through the gate. Putting gates are effective at helping you understand start line and making sure that you're hitting your putts on the correct line that you are aiming at. And they're really efficient and really effective at helping you understand if your face is open and or closed to the line that you're trying to start the ball at. Because as you should know, the ball is going to start mostly where the face is pointed when you're talking about a putting stroke. The Skilz Putt Gate is relatively inexpensive. I purchased mine for $19 on Amazon. Now, if we talk about the build quality of this, I would say that for putting gate and something that you're going to use on the putting green, the build quality is not too bad. It's made from a durable plastic. I can't really see this getting broke as long as you use it in the method which is described. But as with anything, you know, it's not exactly made of a solid metal. That would be nice, but for 20 bucks, I really wasn't expecting that much more other than just having, you know, something simple that I could put in the bag and something that I could take out of the bag and use really efficiently to set up start lines when I'm hitting putts. Ease of use. Now, this is where I kind of ran into a bit of an issue getting this thing set up. Typically, finding a straight line on the putting green is something that I hate doing when I'm getting warmed up. I like to just have a simple tool that can give me a good area where I'm aiming at and kind of hit a couple putts through it. I will say that the holes on this specifically just made things a lot more complicated than it had to be. I get the idea of having multiple holes and multiple areas for you to put the T-pegs in. That gives you a lot of versatility based off of the different types of putters that you could be using. But overall, I just felt it was very flimsy and didn't really work that well. I wasn't really satisfied with how easy it was to set up and how easy it was to get the gates going. But one thing that I did really like is the lines that exist on the back of the putting gate. I always love good neutral face lines. When you're setting up to this with your putter, it is very easy to see if your putter face is square to where you are intending to aim. I think all good putting gates or putting training aids should have some kind of level line at the back where you set the ball up. I did love that about it. Overall, once you get it set up, it is pretty straightforward and it is pretty simple to use. The setup process did take me a little bit longer than I would have expected, but once it's set up, it's pretty easy to start rolling some putts, and as you can see, everything went as expected, getting the putts to roll on the start line and getting the putts to go in the direction that I was aiming them. One of the issues that I did run into with using this is the putting gate is just too wide for my skill level. And there is probably about maybe 1 to 2 degrees at a few feet for this ball to roll through that area without it really getting impacted by the T-pegs of the putting gate. And that for me is just a huge no-no. I need the ability to really make my putting as difficult as possible. Overall, I just didn't really like the fact that the gate was pretty wide and it just really didn't give me the difficulty that I was looking to achieve. That isn't to say that it probably couldn't be good for, you know, maybe a beginning golfer or somebody that's just getting new to the idea of practicing with putting training. And that rolls us into feedback loop. because the gate is so wide and because the ball can roll through the gate pretty much on even a poor line, I would say that it doesn't really have a good feedback loop because you're not really learning or stressing yourself to hit putts on almost perfect lines. I'd like a gate that has room for about 1 to half a degree of error, and with this, that just isn't the case. So I would say from a feedback loop perspective, unless you're a really poor putter and really struggle with starting the ball on the correct line, this is not really going to help you to better understand exactly how good you are starting your ball on the correct line. And in that assessment, I would say that it fails because it just doesn't really work for someone that has a pretty good skill on the putting green already. Can it be replicated with existing tools that you have in your bag? Yes. If you have 4 tees, you can always set up a putting gate and be able to replicate any putting gate with just 4 tees you have in your bag. The whole idea of a putting gate that is a device is so you don't have to sit there and really focus on setting up the line straight. The idea of a putting gate should be to set it down, it should be straight, you put the tee pegs in, and it's good to go. Something that you can really get for a quick warm-up before a practice round or before a tournament or before you go out. You set this thing down and you should be able to have a pretty good straight gate. For that, it does work well. Another thing that I have an issue with it is for a putting gate, it's rather large. I mean, it does fit in the big sleeve of my golf bag, but it's kind of a really tight fit. I mean, it's as wide as most pouches are, and with the little flimsy legs here, I'm just always worried that, you know, my bag going in and out of my car would break this in a second, and I'd have to be buying so many of these over and over that I really don't think it makes a lot of sense. I think as a gift to an entry-level or novice golfer, it can work pretty well, but for someone who's a little bit more of a serious competitive golfer, this is not going to do the trick. I would recommend that you purchase something a little bit more tight in this area to make sure your start line is as precise as possible. So for me, this one's going to be a big thumbs down. It's not really something that I enjoyed. I am still on the look for a good putting gate. This just wasn't the one. But, you know, all in all, 20 bucks isn't a bad investment to see something that I didn't like. This one is definitely going to go into the trash bin as far as it's concerned for training aids. I wish I had better news for you down the lens, but if this review can save you 20 bucks, then I've done my job here. No need to draw this on any longer than necessary. When it comes to the Skilz Putting Gate Trainer, I'm going to give it a thumbs down. It's definitely not a product I would recommend, not something that I would invest money in or recommend to you down that lens. But stay tuned again until I find a good putting aid that's going to help me with start line direction. I've got a few things that I've noticed out there in the golf world that I'm super excited to try. As always, thank you very much for watching my videos. Deuces, people. Is that with the left hand or the right hand? Deuces, people. Let's keep it